welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for another deep dive. Today's case is a heartbreaking one, as are many cases that involve crimes against children. Today we are discussing the horrific case of Harmony Montgomery, the 5-year-old girl who was allegedly killed by her own father. Now, what makes this case just that much more heartbreaking is that it would be 2 years after her alleged murder before anyone would even report her missing. And I say alleged murder because as I'm recording this video, her remains have never been found. However, as evidence continued to surface, her death has been officially presumed. As we dive into this tragic story, we're going to see how just about every single person in this little girl's life failed her. We're going to see how one decision after another led Harmony Montgomery into the hands of the man, if that's what you want to call him, the monster, the career criminal, the absolute worst possible person to take care of a child. And of course, some may say that hindsight is 20/20. Sure, it's easy for us to sit here now and look back at what went wrong. However, I'd argue that these decisions, these god-awful decisions, were made without the proper consideration or without any consideration at all for the well-being of Harmony Montgomery. Now, this is going to be a difficult case to hear because it was certainly difficult to research. In fact, if I'm completely honest, as I was researching this case, I came to tears a number of times. And for me, that's saying an awful lot. However, sharing Harmony's story is important because Harmony deserves the attention she was never given when she was alive. She deserves to be remembered, and her story deserves to be told because she's no longer here to tell it. And just as importantly, the people responsible deserve to be held accountable. And hopefully, in these next few weeks, we're going to see justice be served for the horrific crimes committed against this sweet, innocent little girl. I'll be discussing Harmony's childhood with the little bit of information that's out there, the events that led up to her alleged murder, as well as the information that we have now as we are moving closer to the trial. Now, I have to warn you, the details in this case are very disturbing. So if that's not something you want to hear today, I completely understand, but this is probably not the video for you. And I do recommend that you exit now, and perhaps I can catch you on another one. As a reminder, I am not an expert. This is just public information that I've gathered on the internet from a number of sources, including news articles, court documents, investigative documentation, court hearings, interviews, etc. So be sure to do your own research and form your own opinions. Also to add, there are some other children in this case. However, I will not be using their names, with the exception of Jameson, Harmony's little brother. And the reason I make an exception for him is because I do believe that his relationship with Harmony is important to her story. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Harmony Montgomery was born on June 7th, 2014 in Manchester, New Hampshire, to her parents, Crystal Sorey and Adam Montgomery. But as both of her parents struggled with drug addiction, Harmony's childhood was tumultuous right from the start. In fact, troubles began brewing even before she was born. When her mother, Crystal, was just 4 months pregnant with Harmony, Adam Montgomery was arrested after a drug deal went bad, where he shot the drug dealer in the face after Adam tried to rob him. Though he was charged with armed robbery and assault with intent to murder, Adam Montgomery was sentenced to a mere 18 months to be served concurrent with an unrelated charge. Now, this would be the first mistake by the state, because in relation to the charge, a 18-month sentence is a slap in the wrist, in my opinion. Because if this man is willing to shoot another man in the face, I think it's safe to say that he is a danger to society and he should have been charged accordingly. Not to mention that this was not Adam's first run-in with the law. Back as far as 2007, Adam was charged with burglary, first-degree assault, and stalking. So with his history of violence, if they had given Adam Montgomery, say, a 5-year sentence, which I still think would be light, I don't think it's a stretch to believe that Harmony Montgomery would still be alive today, because perhaps she would have never been placed in his custody to begin with. So Adam Montgomery was incarcerated when Harmony Montgomery made her entrance into this world. She was described as an independent toddler who loved books and playing with dolls. She would sing and dance and say that one day she was going to be a superstar. And she loved playing with other kids and made friends quite easily. Her baby blue eyes and golden blonde hair shined as brightly as her smile in every room she walked into. Early on, Harmony experienced issues with her eyes, and medical experts believed that she would never be able to see or that she would be severely disabled. Despite this, Harmony defied expectations. Though she remained legally blind in one eye, she would wear these adorable pink or purple glasses. Despite the obstacles she faced and the darkness that loomed over her life, Harmony remained sweet and kind and empathetic, and she always had a smile on her face. Within the first few weeks of being born, the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families, or DCF, received multiple reports alleging that Harmony Montgomery was being neglected. In the sole care of her mother, Crystal Sorey, an investigation began, and those reports of neglect were confirmed. Harmony was removed from the custody of her mother and placed into foster care for the first time. At 6 months old, Harmony was taken to the prison where Adam Montgomery was incarcerated, and here would be the first time that she met her father. Now, there are a few pictures of Harmony and Adam Montgomery together. However, personally, when I look at those pictures, it makes me sick to my stomach, and I just did not feel right putting them in this video. But if you want to go look them up yourself, they are floating around on the internet. But following this visit, Crystal was given temporary custody of Harmony. But this would be short-lived as Harmony was removed from her home once again in April 2015. Now, from this period, from when Harmony is born to when she's about 4 years old, she is in DCF's custody. However, the primary goal of DCF is to reunite the child with their family. So in this time frame, DCF allows Crystal to have temporary custody, kind of see how it goes. Unfortunately, Crystal continues to struggle with addiction, so Harmony is removed from Crystal's custody again and placed with her foster care family. Now, in 2015, Adam Montgomery was released from prison, but it would be over a year after his release before he even attempted to reach out to DCF to schedule a supervised visit. Adam visited Harmony a few times before suddenly he stopped responding to DCF's efforts to schedule future visits. By August 2018, Adam Montgomery had visited Harmony 9 times. Now, between August 2018 and January 2019, he visited Harmony 11 times. So from the time that she was born until she was about 4.5, almost 5 years old, Adam had about 20 total visits with Harmony when he requested a review and redetermination hearing, which is essentially a hearing to request that Harmony is removed from the Massachusetts DCF and be placed in his custody where he lived in New Hampshire. Now, really quickly, I was listening to an interview with Crystal Sorey, Harmony's mother, where she was doing an interview with Vinnie Politan on Court TV. She said that she wanted everybody to know that Harmony never called Adam dad. She called him Adam. Now, despite whatever feelings you have against Crystal, the fact that she called him Adam is important to note because it really just paints a picture of how she viewed their relationship. According to her interview, in February of 2019, Crystal had 2 hearings scheduled on the same day in 2 separate locations. One hearing was for the review and redetermination hearing that Adam had requested for Harmony, and another hearing was for Harmony's little brother, Jameson, where he was in the process of being adopted. Now, as a side note, these adoptive parents were willing to adopt Harmony as well because they wanted to keep the siblings together, which makes this case just that much more heartbreaking, that there was another family who would have happily taken Harmony in and would have given her the life that she deserved, where she could have been with her little brother Jameson. But Crystal had to choose which hearing to go to because obviously she couldn't be 2 places at once. So she chose to go to Jameson's hearing with the understanding that her attorney that was representing her in Harmony's case would request for a continuance as she had 2 legal obligations. But that day, in February 2019, the judge moved to grant Adam Montgomery full custody of 4-year-old Harmony. And there was no record of a ruling or even a motion to request a continuance. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into this hearing because a lot of mistakes were made. And because of these mistakes, these crucial mistakes, an innocent child lost her life. Now, I'm going to need you to stick with me here because there is a lot to unpack. There are multiple sides to this hearing. There's Crystal's attorney, Harmony's attorney, Adam Montgomery is there, Adam Montgomery's attorney is there, the DCF legal representation is there, and the judge. So we have all of these different players that are there at the hearing who are supposedly there with Harmony's best interest in mind. But after Harmony Montgomery was considered missing The Massachusetts Office of the Child Advocate, or OCA, did a deep investigation into her case and specifically into this hearing where Adam was granted custody. According to their report, it is the OCA's obligation to critically examine state services provided to children and families and ask how we, as a Commonwealth, can do better. All children deserve a permanent home that promotes their safety, stability, and well-being. The state can interfere in the parent-child relationship only in extraordinary circumstances. A parent's right to raise their own child is constitutionally protected under both federal and Massachusetts law. One of the reasons Child Protective Services work is so difficult is that it requires a balancing of the parent's right to raise their child as they see fit and the child's right to be protected from abuse or neglect. The OCA has determined that the key finding of this investigation is that there was an insufficient balancing of Ms. Sori and Mr. Montgomery's rights with Harmony's well-being. So it was discovered that when Adam Montgomery first requested the review and redetermination hearing, the judge that happened to be working on Harmony's case at that time requested an expedited ICPC. So really quickly, the ICPC is a statutory agreement that has been entered into by all 50 United States as well as Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Virgin Islands. This agreement consists of 10 articles and 12 regulations. The agreement governs the permanent placement of children over the border from one state into another state. The purpose of ICPC is to ensure that children who are placed out of state are cared for by safe caregivers in an environment that meets the child's needs. The ICPC is necessary because individual state laws are applicable only within that state's borders. The ICPC creates reasonable expectations for interstate relations and establishes a system that clarifies state responsibility and oversight of children. Results of the ICPC can evaluate the reality of the family and the home environment. So as I understand it, because Harmony was in DCF's custody in Massachusetts, however, Adam was requesting custody while he lived in New Hampshire, this ICPC is structured to make sure that when Harmony is moved across state lines, she's not just lost in transition. They want to make sure that Adam is a stable person. They want to make sure that he's safe. They want to make sure the environment she's moving into is safe and secure. And they want to make sure that the family taking her in isn't going to be completely disrupted by Harmony being there. ICPC also requires a family action plan by Adam Montgomery. They want to make sure that he's taking the necessary steps to make sure that he's going to be a fit parent. However, in this case, nobody followed through on the ICPC process, and DCF did not follow the protocol when it came to the family action plan. According to the investigation, there was no evidence to suggest that Adam had done anything on his family action plan to ensure that he would be a fit parent, nor did DCF hold Adam Montgomery accountable for participating in those services. The report states, because Mr. Montgomery did not engage in his action plan services other than substance use disorder treatment, it prevented the DCF case management team from assessing his parental capacity, which resulted in a weak legal case for DCF to oppose placing Harmony in Mr. Montgomery's custody at his review and redetermination hearing in February 2019. So in short, DCF failed to ensure that Adam Montgomery was a fit parent. They failed to make sure that his home was safe, and they failed to make sure that Harmony's needs would be met. And because the ICPC was not completed, they had no grounds to say whether or not Adam Montgomery would be a fit parent. So the DCF legal advocate at that hearing failed to effectively present the position of the agency. Now at the hearing, the DCF attorney did oppose placing Harmony in Adam Montgomery's custody, at least until the ICPC was completed. However, Adam's attorney, Crystal's attorney, and Harmony's attorney were all in favor of granting Adam Montgomery custody of Harmony. At this hearing, none of these attorneys raised concerns about Adam Montgomery's history of violence, his very limited time with Harmony. They said he had about 40 hours total time spent in supervised visits, which in my opinion, he may as well be a stranger. The attorneys didn't raise concern over his inconsistent visitation or the fact that he never had a single unsupervised visit, let alone an overnight stay, authorized by DCF. They didn't probe into Adam's understanding of Harmony's medical, educational, or emotional needs. Nor did Crystal's attorney raise any awareness about the multiple times that Crystal expressed her sincere concern with Adam Montgomery's history of aggressive behavior. And the fact that Crystal's attorney acceded to this hearing without her present, but also suggested that Crystal Sorey supposedly supported placing Harmony into Adam's custody. And this was not only irresponsible, but it was dishonest and grossly negligent. Now, I'm not giving Crystal Sorey a pass. She definitely made her share of mistakes in Harmony's case. She failed to be a fit parent, the parent that Harmony needed to keep her safe. But I don't think there's anything that I can say about her failures that she probably doesn't already say to herself. I know if I were in her situation, I would never be able to forgive myself, and I imagine that she will never be able to forgive herself either. At the end of the day, she lost her child, she lost her daughter, and I'm sure that she blames herself more than we as outsiders ever will. But back to the hearing. So the presiding judge at the review and redetermination hearing, that judge was not the same judge that initially requested the ICPC to be completed. It's a different judge. So the judge presiding over the hearing determined that the ICPC did not apply in this case because Adam Montgomery's constitutional right to parent his child could not be infringed by delay by the requirements of ICPC. And without having the full picture, because again, DCF failed to provide all of the documentation they needed, the judge awarded Adam Montgomery full custody. And to make matters worse, DCF never filed an appeal. So without that appeal, the judge rule was final, and Harmony Montgomery was placed into Adam Montgomery's custody. Now, I will say that the judge allegedly reached out to New Hampshire's ICPC department, but according to the New Hampshire ICPC office, the ICPC does not apply when a child is being placed in the custody of a biological parent. So that case was closed. A week after he was granted custody, Harmony was moved back to New Hampshire with Adam Montgomery, his wife Kayla, and their two young boys, or Harmony's little brothers. And here, since Harmony was no longer in Massachusetts, the DCF and the care and protection order were concluded. Just to put this into perspective, Adam Montgomery was granted custody of Harmony in February 2019, and it wouldn't even be a full year before Harmony was no longer alive. Not even a full year. So Harmony Montgomery was moved into a small family home on Guilford Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. In addition to Kayla and the two young boys, Adam's uncle Kevin also lived at the residence for a short period. Just months after Adam was granted custody of Harmony, Kevin filed a report to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, or DCYF, after he found Harmony with a black eye. According to Kevin, Adam said that he left Harmony unsupervised with her infant brother while Adam was in the bathroom, maybe taking a shower. When the baby started crying, Harmony, just 4 years old, isn't quite sure what to do, so she placed her hand over the baby's mouth to try to muffle the cries. So as a form of punishment, Adam tells Kevin, and I quote, "I bashed her around the house," end quote. Within months, Kevin moved out of the house, and he said that the last time that he saw Harmony, she looked like a scared puppy. Now, this point marked a contentious situation for Adam Montgomery and his family, and according to Kevin, Adam blocked everybody from social media. After Harmony Montgomery went missing, the police interviewed Kevin Montgomery, and he recounted the abuse that he witnessed. According to the affidavit, Kevin spoke about these punishments where Harmony was made to stand for hours in a corner until she would wet herself. She was forced to use her own toothbrush to scrub the toilet. And what's worse was the physical beatings. When Kevin Montgomery talked about the physical abuse, he reportedly equated the treatment of Harmony to that of a mistreated dog. Now, reading these punishments was difficult enough, but to actually say them out loud, to imagine what the last few months of this girl's life was like, makes me physically nauseous. Because here's the thing, foster care sometimes is worse than the situations that these children are in. However, as this story unfolds, I think it's safe to say that that was not the case for Harmony. She seemed to have been much better off in foster care as she was continuously placed with the same family. And Crystal actually preferred Harmony to be with this family as they kept in contact with Crystal and they seemed to have a great relationship. So back to Kevin's report to DCF, a CPS worker allegedly visited the home and said that they did not observe a black eye and nothing came about it. A month later, a CPS worker visited the home again and claimed that they had interviewed Harmony, Adam, and Kayla. The worker noted a red mark on Harmony's eye and some faded bruising under her eyelid. But as Adam explained it away, saying that Harmony was struck in the face with a toy while she was playing with her brother, that seemed to be a good enough explanation. In October 2019, Kevin and his mother, or Adam's grandmother, went to the house where they needed a police escort because Adam refused to let them into their house. Like, this house that Adam is living in is his grandmother's house. But he refused to let her inside, so they requested a police escort to let them inside where they can get some of their belongings. At this time, the responding officer reported that while the house was disheveled and the home was being powered by a generator, there was food in the pantries and the kids seemed happy and healthy. And his account that day concluded that the report of abuse was unfounded. Case closed. But it would be just 6 weeks later that Harmony was never seen again. The day before Thanksgiving in 2019, Adam, Kayla, the two boys, and Harmony were evicted from the home due to not paying the mortgage. A family of 5 began living out of a Chrysler Sebring, a silver mid-size 4-door sedan. Now at this point, being that there's no place to go to the bathroom, Harmony Montgomery would have a few accidents in the car. And in response, Adam Montgomery would punch Harmony in the face with a closed fist. This little girl was petrified of that man, and who can blame her? Everything that she did set him off. Everything she didn't do set him off. And when I'm thinking about what her mindset was like in those moments, she was probably too scared to tell him that she needed to go to the restroom because, let's be honest, that probably would have set him off as well. And it's commonly understood that when a child is scared or in a state of fear, they have bathroom accidents. So the fear that he placed into Harmony created this ongoing problem. It was around this period that Harmony was last seen alive. It would be 2 years. 2 years before anyone reported her missing. 2 years before anyone noticed she was gone. And this simple fact makes me beyond infuriated. How was she missing for 2 years before she was reported missing? Nobody asked where she was for the holidays, where she was on Christmas and Easter. No red flags were raised when she wasn't around on her birthday, or how she was supposed to be starting school. It's just unbelievably infuriating as it is heartbreaking. Not only does it paint a pretty good picture of the lack of responsible and involved adults in her life, but it also gave this monster 2 years to hide what he did. 2 years to cover his tracks, and 2 years for whatever evidence or remains of Harmony are out there to possibly be washed 1,000 miles away. In early 2020, DCYF received a referral about the Montgomery household, but Adam told the CPS worker that Harmony was now living with her mother back in Massachusetts. A few weeks later, the CPS worker called Crystal to confirm, and because Crystal didn't answer her phone, a voicemail was left. Crystal sorry, never returned the call, and the CPS worker never followed up. Another year and a half went by, and in September 2021, DCYF was contacted with concerns that Crystal hadn't seen Harmony since Easter of 2019, where allegedly during a FaceTime call, she was talking to Harmony, where Harmony looked terrified as Adam was hovering over her. And after that day, Adam Montgomery blocked any further contact with Crystal. DCYF began looking into Harmony's case, and when they confirmed that she had not been registered in school, DCYF attempted to locate the Montgomery family. When they were unsuccessful, the Manchester Police Department was notified, where they began to search for Adam Montgomery. It was New Year's Eve 2021 when detectives found Adam living in his car with his new girlfriend, Kelsey Small. Police spoke to Kelsey for a brief moment, where she revealed to police that she was aware of his now 3 children with Kayla and aware of Jameson, but did not know Harmony was one of his children. And that alone speaks volumes. Also, as a side note, shortly after this encounter, in March of 2022, Kelsey Small passed away unexpectedly at the age of 27. However, her death was not considered suspicious. When they began questioning Adam about the whereabouts of Harmony, they described him as uncooperative and refusing to provide any information. Detectives also located Kayla Montgomery and began questioning her as well. With no definite answers of the whereabouts of his daughter, a search was officially announced for Harmony Montgomery. January 2020, the search for Harmony began at the Guilford Street residence, where neighbors reported police cordoned off the home with tarps and police tape. Drone footage showed a tent set up in the backyard, but after 2 days of searching, nothing was found. Now at this point, they're still questioning Adam and Kayla and trying to get some information out of them. Adam sat through a short police interview and answered some questions concerning the household dynamics with Kevin, the eviction, living in his car, and the multiple CPS visits. But as soon as the questioning got close to the time where Harmony was last seen, Adam shut down and asked for a lawyer. Now, Kayla, according to her initial statement, Kayla said that she last saw Harmony during a night where Adam was dropping off Kayla at work, and he was supposedly going to bring Harmony back to her mom in Massachusetts. After that point, Kayla said that she never heard from or saw Harmony ever again. But when Kayla testified to this story in front of a grand jury, it was discovered that she was not working on the night in question, and most of her story didn't line up with other testimonies. Since she was caught lying under oath, Kayla Montgomery was charged with 2 counts of felony perjury. In addition, she was charged with welfare fraud as they continued to collect state benefits for Harmony while admitting that Harmony was no longer in their custody. This is when the investigators finally had some leverage. They offered Kayla Montgomery a plea deal, and if she pled guilty to the 2 counts of perjury and testified against Adam Montgomery and told the truth about what really happened to Harmony, they would reduce her sentence and drop all other charges. As far as I know, because I can be wrong, but Kayla Montgomery will be serving just an 18th month sentence for the 2 counts of perjury, and I don't believe that she can be charged with anything further as it relates to the death of Harmony Montgomery. Now, it's hard for me to find comfort in that deal. However, at the same time, without Harmony's remains, investigators really didn't have much to go off of. Kayla Montgomery's testimony is crucial to getting a murder conviction for Adam, which hopefully we can all agree is ultimately the most important thing. Additionally, I was reading the court documents for the upcoming trial, and it seems as if Adam Montgomery will be facing charges for tampering with witnesses, as the prosecution alleges that he became violent with Kayla to ensure that she wouldn't talk to police about what he did to Harmony. So it's a tough situation. It certainly makes the issues around Kayla and her silence and her potential involvement that much more complex. Let me know what you think. Do you think Kayla Montgomery should have gotten more time, more than 18 months? Or do you feel that Kayla was a victim herself? I'm really curious to see what you think about this. The information that we have now on what happened to Harmony, what happened to her the months afterwards, we wouldn't have any of that information without Kayla's testimony. That being said, it is important to keep in mind that it's possible that her testimony now is not 100% truthful. However, it does seem that what we have now and the evidence that has surfaced since, it does seem to corroborate her testimony. So what really happened to Harmony Montgomery? And I know I said this earlier, but just to reiterate, the details in this case are very disturbing. So here's another chance for you to exit out now. According to Kayla's testimony, on December 7th, 2019, the family was on their way to Burger King when Harmony Montgomery was sitting in the back seat of the Sebring and she had a bathroom accident. In response, like every other time, Adam turned around and delivered 3 sets of 3 or 4 blows to Harmony's head and face in the span of a few minutes. After the final blow, Adam Montgomery allegedly turned to Kayla and said, "I think I really hurt her this time. I think I did something. I think I really hurt her this time." Like, what gave it away, Adam? What gave it away? The fact that she is a defenseless little girl and you are a grown man punching her in the face? What did you think was going to happen? You think you hurt her? Like, this man is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm sorry, but it's just so infuriating. And the fact that he said, "I think I hurt her this time," insinuating that this happens multiple times. And you don't think that you hurt her before? According to Kayla, Harmony began making a moaning noise for a few moments before she went silent. When Adam parked the car, it was apparent that Harmony was no longer alive. She had been beaten to death. Instead of calling for help or calling an ambulance, Adam pops the trunk of his car, empties out a duffel bag, and places Harmony's lifeless body inside. Now, it's unclear on whether the two other babies were inside the car when this happened, but being that they were living in the car at this time, I can't really imagine where else they would have been. And that just adds a whole other layer of heartbreak and tragedy to this case. Over the next few months, the family moved to several locations where they lived in a friend's car, parked in a parking lot, Kayla's mother's house, a shelter, and an apartment complex. And along with them was Harmony's body. Now, the details were quite difficult to untangle, as her body would be placed in a number of different bags and containers and placed in different locations. At times, her concealed body would be placed in the stroller in between her two little brothers. Montgomery allegedly kept the duffel bag in the snow to slow down the decomposition. He then placed her body inside of a red cooler that sat in a common hallway at the homeless shelter. After it began leaking and emitting an odor, Harmony's body was then placed inside of a trash bag. Adam allegedly placed Harmony's body in the ceiling vent, but after other residents complained of the smell, he moved the body into a small closet. Later, the family moved to an apartment complex where Harmony's body was put into a plastic tote and placed into the freezer. Finally, Adam decided that it was time to compact her body. At this point, it is alleged that Adam Montgomery went to a Home Depot where he purchased two 40-pound bags of lime and a grinder to try to dissolve and compress Harmony's frozen body. According to the affidavit, Kayla observed Harmony saying, "Harmony wasn't bones, she had skin, teeth, and hair." And Kayla could still tell that it was her. Kayla alleges that Adam spent 6 to 8 hours in the bathroom with the shower on as he tried to distort and disfigure the body until it was small enough that he can fit it inside of a small maternity tote bag. He would store it in the walk-in freezer of a restaurant where he worked as a dishwasher. In early March of 2020, so a few months after Harmony was allegedly murdered, Adam Montgomery got a friend to help him rent a U-Haul. Around this time, Kayla Montgomery said that Adam left in the middle of the night. And after being gone for a few hours, he returned and said, "It's done." After this testimony, investigators went back to the multiple residences and areas where they lived to search the property in hopes of finding any additional evidence or remains of Harmony. Union Street apartment complex was searched where FBI agents removed a refrigerator where they wrapped it in biohazard tape and loaded it and a slew of other items into a truck. They went back to the shelter where Harmony's body was allegedly stored in the ceiling. The FBI removed the ceiling panel where a large stain was found, and the panel was submitted for DNA testing. According to the results, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 1.1 trillion times more probable if the sample originated from Harmony Montgomery and one unknown person than if it originated from two unknown persons. Investigators made their way to the restaurant where Adam allegedly stored her body in the walk-in freezer. Former employees would tell investigators that they saw the tote bag in the freezer but never thought to ask Adam about it or look inside because it said Catholic Maternity Hospital, which suggested to them that the contents were related to Adam's children. Investigators also began to look for the U-Haul that was connected to Adam Montgomery. They found evidence showing the U-Haul crossing the Tobin Bridge around the time that Kayla said Adam left in the middle of the night. This led investigators to the wetlands along Lynn Marsh Road in Revere, Massachusetts. Along with 4 canine unit teams and a drone unit, 18 troopers specially trained in search operations in difficult terrain and environments were sent to the area. Despite their search efforts, no signs of Harmony were recovered. As I mentioned at the top of this video, it had been over 2 years since Adam allegedly disposed of her body, so this search was essentially looking for a needle in a haystack. Despite the odds, the search for Harmony Montgomery continues. As of December 2023, investigators announced an updated tip line for anyone looking to offer information on this case. If by some chance there's someone out there with information that happens to be watching this video, that tip line is 603-932-8997. With all of this discovery and evidence, Adam Montgomery was finally charged with the murder of Harmony Montgomery on October 24th, 2022. Now, Adam was already in custody at that point as he was arrested on unrelated gun charges earlier that year. In June 2023, Adam faced trial for the gun charges where a jury found Adam Montgomery guilty of 6 charges: 2 counts of being an armed criminal, receiving stolen property, and theft. At the sentencing hearing, Adam Montgomery was given the opportunity to speak to the judge where he addressed the murder allegations.
The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims.
Adam was sentenced to up to 60 years in prison, which he is currently serving as he awaits the murder trial, where he is facing charges of second-degree murder, second-degree assault, tampering with witnesses and informants, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. The trial is scheduled for February 6th, 2024, where the jury selection will begin. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally cannot wait to see the look on his face when he is found guilty and justice is finally served for Harmony Montgomery. And to be completely honest, there's not really any sentence that will be true justice for what he did to Harmony, but I hope that he never sees the light of day ever again. This was such a difficult case to research, but one that I find so incredibly important, not only because Harmony's story deserves to be heard, but because of all of the different players in this case, the different agencies that were involved, all of these moving pieces that failed Harmony. And unfortunately, because of these mistakes, Harmony lost her life. But I hope that as this case becomes viewed internationally, that Harmony and what happened to her will be the cause for change to make sure that this never happens to any child ever again. Because according to the OCA's findings, although the details of Harmony's legal case are complex, her parents' history of substance use disorder, her experience in DCF custody, and the fact that her needs and well-being were not prioritized in the court case about her care and protection are not uncommon experiences for children in the Massachusetts child protective system. And that's a big problem. And it's certainly not unique to Massachusetts. So something definitely needs to be done to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Jamison's adoptive parents have spoken out, saying that Jamison still talks about Harmony all of the time and how important she was to him. And what's more heartbreaking is they mentioned that the day that it is believed that Harmony was murdered on December 7th, 2019, on that day, Jamison's parents were celebrating his first birthday with them since he had been officially adopted. And again, they were willing, they wanted to adopt Harmony as well. Knowing how important Harmony was to Jamison, they wanted to keep them together, and they actually reached out to DCF, who basically told them that that door was closed. There was nothing else that they can do. So it's heartbreaking, and I can't imagine what Jamison and her other siblings are going to think and feel when they realize the extent of what happened to their sister. This case is just so incredibly sad. It's infuriating, and it never should have happened. And this case is one of those cases that are just full of what ifs. What if Adam Montgomery was initially given a harsher sentence? What if he was still in prison? What if Crystal was able to stop using substances and she had custody of Harmony? What if DCF did their full job before going to that hearing where Adam was granted custody? What if Adam just fucked off and left Harmony alone? What if she was able to be adopted by Jamison's parents? All of these different questions, because it seems as if just one of these things were to have been different, perhaps Harmony would still be alive. And that's just such a heartbreaking thing to think about. I can go on for hours thinking about all of the what ifs. At the end of the day, I hope that one day we will see Harmony's remains be found. I hope that we can see her finally be properly put to rest. And I look forward to seeing Adam's trial. I look forward to seeing him finally face justice for what he did to that sweet, innocent little girl. After he's found guilty, I hope we never have to see his face ever again. But other than that, that's all I have for this case for now. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.